Republic of Suriname, and I invite him to address the Assembly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. Your Excellency, Abdullah Shahid, President of the General Assembly, Your Excellency Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, I congratulate you on your election to preside over this 76th session of the General Assembly. I assure you of my country's full support during your presidency. I take this opportunity to acknowledge His Excellency Volkan Bozkır for his sterling leadership of the very challenging previous session and to wish him well in his future endeavors. The unpredictable turns of the global political and economic landscape demonstrate that multilateral cooperation, international solidarity, and concrete action are required more than ever. Indeed, Mr. President, we all should work together to deliver for the people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. All of these interconnected challenges can be considered a puzzle whereby the pieces can be found in various countries. I urge all of us to work together to solve this puzzle and secure the future of our planet. With this, we will demonstrate leadership, humanity, and political responsibility and commitment. Now, distinguished colleagues, is the time for solidarity, unity, and global leadership. Mr. President, the COVID-19 pandemic has clearly highlighted that when in crisis, seemingly international solidarity has little or no meaning. Multilateralism and international solidarity came under pressure. It has unveiled weaknesses of the effectiveness of our international mechanisms and global legal infrastructure. Regretfully, the principle of collective efforts and responsibility was replaced by a more individual approach, one to protect the nation first. However, I'm taking this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the countries and organizations who expressed solidarity and had provided valuable support to my country and people in the battle against this pandemic at a very early stage. Our thanks extend especially to the Kingdom of the Netherlands, India, China, and also the United States of America. Mr. President, the exposed weaknesses of our health systems must be addressed with innovative measures with the use of modern technology and international cooperation. Allow me, as we go forward, to underscore the importance of using science and technology for peaceful purposes. We also need to pay attention to the long-term social and psychological aspects, the widening of the education gap and the digital divide, as well as the unequal access to vaccines. Moreover, many countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, known as middle-income region, regrettably have not benefited from the various COVID-19 multilateral debt relief solutions. Mr. President, we must develop a post-COVID strategy with focus on developing an effective strategy to improve vaccination levels in our societies, rebuilding the economy, and establishing a COVID-19 recovery fund with support of the international financial institutions and the private sector. We cannot go back to what we were used to, but rather focus on how we organize ourselves for the new normal with COVID-19 as part of our lives, removing barriers for ease of doing business and investment. Mr. President, beyond the severe impact of COVID-19, we have been challenged with financial and economic deficiencies, including high debt burden. In this regard, access to concessional financing is of critical importance in rebooting our economy. Currently, we face unrealistic, unfair, and counterproductive classification instruments. Suriname looks forward to new substantive methods of financial support based on the socio-economic reality of the countries concerned. At the same time, vulnerabilities of countries should be taken into account. I call on all to support the multidimensional vulnerability index as proposed by CIDS, Small Island Developing States, and to remove bureaucracy in supporting these states. It is in the interest of all of us. Mr. President, Suriname supports the call for a stronger and more effective United Nations. A restructured and revitalized United Nations must ensure that the organization remains the source of redress for the international community and home to international justice and equitable decision-making. It is my firm belief societies should be organized based on democratic values, good governance, an independent judiciary, and with respect for human rights. In achieving these objectives, we must allow countries, especially in the midst of COVID-19 crisis, to develop sustainable economies without obstacles. Isolation and trade blockades, such as in the case of Cuba in my own region, undermine these principles and are counterproductive to achieving these goals. Therefore, I am calling for continued dialogue and negotiations to solve differences and conflicts within the framework of the Charter of the United Nations. Mr. President, climate change remains a serious challenge and an existential threat which requires the attention of all of us. In recent months, we have witnessed its worldwide impact, such as deadly floods, widespread forest fires, and significant rises in global temperature. No country or region was spared of its wrath. In the case of my country, Suriname, and the countries with low-lying coastal areas, we are committed to fighting climate change because we are particularly vulnerable, even though we have contributed the least to this problem. Suriname is a high forest, low deforestation country with a forest coverage of approximately 93%. Suriname significantly contributes to the mitigation of the effects of climate change. We are one of the few carbon negative rating countries in the world. Yet, we are not fully benefiting from global arrangements associated with sound forest management. The time has come to acknowledge the unique challenges faced by the high forest, low deforestation developing countries, and to improve and maximize their fair access to climate finance. As we prepare, Mr. President, for COP26, early November this year in Glasgow, we must bear in mind that noble ideals with strong political commitments do not mean much if not supported with new financial resources. COP26, therefore, should result in ambitious and actionable commitments. Suriname calls on developed countries to recommit to the $100 billion per year to to support developing countries as agreed in 2015 Paris Agreement. In this regard, I stress the importance of the Amazon Cooperation Treaty Organization, ACTO, and the need to support its activities aimed at protecting the Amazon rainforest and its biodiversity. Mr. President, 1 year ago, the new government of Suriname on leadership took office and had to deal with several financial and economic challenges. Amidst the climate change challenges and the COVID-19 pandemic, my country is also confronted with a challenging fiscal choice between servicing an increased sovereign debt or to spend more in health, education, and the livelihoods of our citizens. In order to get the tremendous foreign debt under control and make our economy healthy again, my country had decided to develop a comprehensive recovery plan which at staff level has been approved by the IMF, and we look forward to board level approval as soon as possible. Suriname is also at the cusp of attracting substantial foreign direct investments, particularly in the extractive industry, agriculture, and tourism. For this purpose, the enabling environment is being prepared, including the development of a local content policy and a new investment code to facilitate these investments. Therefore, I am inviting the international business community to invest in my beautiful country and contribute to sustainable development and the earmarked transition towards a green economy. In closing, Mr. President, I stand here at the stronghold of multilateralism and international solidarity and call on all of us to play our part in moving our words into action. We need a more agile, equitable, and effective multilateralism based on new realities the world is facing today. One that is efficient, with collective leadership, a solution-based approach, and serving the needs of all countries. Mr. President, distinguished leaders, it is our obligation as leaders of today to build a better world and planet for those living today, but more so for those generations still to come. I thank you. May God bless you all. Thank you.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish to thank the President of the Republic of Suriname for the statement just made, and I request protocol to escort His Excellency.